Hey there, pen enthusiasts. Today we're looking at a pen I've held on to so long it's actually a little difficult to find this specific color at least, which is part of what I think makes this one fairly interesting. It is a color shifting color, so depending on the angle of the light, it typically looks purple, but when the light comes from a different angle, it can look almost a gold or a green, which is just something I find really interesting. The only other pen I have like that would be these two here. I have the Diplomat Magnum, which is another color shifting pen. It typically looks blue, and then depending on the angle of the light, you can get it to look kind of a purplish red. This one here, which has little micro grooves in it, which gives it this spiral pattern. Depending on the angle of the light, the little spirals look like they shift around, kind of like a lenticular trading card that you used to get as a kid. I just like pens that come in different and interesting styles. That gives it something a little bit more over some of your standard pens. So today the one we're looking at here is the Pelikan Twist, which is a snap cap design, and it has an extremely pronounced triangular grip, so depending on your preferences, this may be make or break for you. I picked this one up in a medium, which is what I've typically been going with now. I used to do a lot of fines, but I found that I like that the mediums do tend to write a little bit smoother overall. Opening this up, right now I just have the included cartridge with it. I don't have a Pelikan style converter, so I can't put bottled ink in this without using a little pipette or ink syringe to refill that cartridge there. But so far I've just been using the ink that it came with. So for me, the triangular grip is something I actually find quite useful, especially when I was first starting out. My first fountain pen was a Lamy Safari, which has a triangular grip section as well. It's not quite as pronounced as this one, but is still quite triangular. And what I find that it helps with is, especially when you're first starting out, is you might rotate your pen off axis just a little bit, and with a regular pen that's not so much of an issue with a rollerball or ballpoint pen, but with a fountain pen, even if you go off axis just a little bit, it might be enough that the pen still writes, but it starts to feel really scratchy, or the ink flow starts to dry up and causing it to not feel so smooth. So having a triangular grip gives you a much more defined 0 point of where you need to be, especially if you use either a 3 or 4 finger grip. You've got one on the bottom side of the flat there, and then you've got at least one finger on either other side there, and so it just makes it really stable in the hand. And for me, especially starting out, I've had terrible penmanship my whole life, so having that definitely helped me maintain a much more traditional standard grip and helped me out a lot starting out. So I'll just do a quick writing sample with this one here. And the pen just writes fine. It's one of those, pretty much all of these relatively inexpensive pens write about the same. They're not the smoothest, but they typically write just fine. So a lot of the Lamys, the Pelikans, all those pens that kind of fall in that $25 to $40 price range typically do quite well, for me at least. I've never picked up a pen that costs much more than that though, so I can't compare it to something that costs hundreds of dollars, but a lot of them use similar nibs. Lamy and Pelikan do make their own, but a lot of the pens you pick up are using either Jowo or Schmidt brand nibs, so they are kind of to a particular spec. So for me, the reason you may want to pick one of these up, even if you can't get it in this Shine Mystic colorway, is that it does come in a number of vibrant colors beyond just this bright purple here. And this one is that color shifting color, but they have quite a few others that are just bright colors. To me, it's a very interesting design. something that just sitting on your desk, it would look pretty interesting compared to just a standard pen. Something that anyone would think that's a pen. This, someone might ask you what it is just because it's kind of an odd shape. I do think the triangular grip is something that holds a fair amount of function, especially when you're first starting out, but some people just like the way that feels. This one is very pronounced, and the finish on this is almost a soft touch plastic, so it feels plenty grippy. Definitely not feeling like you're going to slip off the grip there. And then it does have kind of these divots towards the end, so you don't even feel like your fingers are going to come off the end of the section there. You have a very defined placement of your fingers there. It does come with a cartridge. And if you were to want to use bottled ink, you would need to pick up a Pelikan converter or an ink syringe so you can flush this out and fill it back up with your own ink if you wanted to do that, but it can get a little tedious, and these over time do typically get to where they kind of wear out to where you would want another cartridge at some point. So at that point, it would probably be best to pick up a converter if you were going to keep using bottled ink. I picked this one up personally from Amazon, but I don't see any stock left there. Online, I could only find one retailer that still had stock, it seems, on this specific color. But if you are interested in any of the other colors, there are plenty of those on Amazon. So I would recommend that you take a look at the links I have in the description if you would like a kind of uniquely designed pen, and if you want to try out a triangular grip, I do find it quite comfortable personally. And as always, thanks for watching the video, and check out another one if you've got the time.